Angela?
Yes.
Hey!
Hello.
There, what's up?
Hello.
I was like, where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at? Sorry, I'm 4 minutes late. We have a
It's
crazy
all good.
day. We have a crazy day here at Shaun T Fitness, but how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am feeling spectacular. Really, I am
Yeah.
today. I'm feeling really good. Not every day is spectacular, but I try to make it the best I can. You know what I'm saying? Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that's where Chip grew up, Louisville.
I saw the number 502. I was wondering.
Well, I have to be honest. Before I met Chip, I said Louisville. But
No.
after I met Chip, Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville. Wait, so
Louisville.
I got a question for you before we get started. I know you probably have a lot of questions for me, but I got a question for you. What is like the one thing to eat in Louisville that is like if I came there, you're like Shaun T. Yeah, but I'm asking Angela. All right, so tell me that one thing.
I don't know. I guess one of the favorites was like the Galt House hot brown thing that they all eat.
Wait, that's what you been saying. What is it though?
It's not. I don't like it. It's this weird.
Wait, but what is it though?
My thought is like bourbon, not the food. It's the drinks.
Oh, okay. But wait, what is the thing you were talking about that you don't like?
It's some kind of like, I think it's like with the ham and cheese, and it's like hot, open faced.
Is it good? Chip.
It's like this, isn't it like, I want to say it's, well, everywhere makes it differently, but I think traditionally it's rye bread, hollandaise, bacon, cheese, it's like a mix of all this like warm Southern goodness.
That's a lot. That's a lot for me. That's a lot for me. Anyway, more about you. So all right, so I'm here with you for the next 20 minutes or so. Let's talk. What is it? What you want to know? What you got to go through? You know what I mean? What's happening in your life? Tell me it all.
Well, I just got married.
I did do that. I left you that message when I was walking down the hallway of my hotel.
Yeah. So, but that's been my struggle, is being a prison wife. He's not home. But he sends his thanks for creating the programs, because every time I walk in the visiting room, he lights up. But he sees it deeper than just my body. He sees, the strength that's come from what I've been doing with insanity. I don't know. I guess like the job I just had fell through, and basically a friend stole it from me while I was getting married. So I've not worked out in a couple of days. I walked, but it's just like when life hits you with a blow like that, how do you push yourself past what people have done? Because that was the dirtiest thing that's ever been done to me.
Yeah, so that is deep. So just so you know, I'm going to have some questions for you, because I can listen to you talk, but I think if I hear some of the things that I want to address to help you kind of go deep inside and bring it out, I think that might be the best way for us to, make use of you digging deeper into what it is that you need to get through to the next chapter, right? So,
right.
So let's talk about you being a prison wife. First of all, congratulations for getting married. That day is obviously can be an amazing day, right? It's so you're marrying someone that you love. I've seen television shows, I put that in quotes, about
No.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. I put that in quotes about prison wives, but I would like to hear from you why you got married. What is the most exciting thing about being married, about him? I don't need to know why he's in prison. I want to know like the love that you guys share. So let's talk about that first.
I met him. This is awful. I was a correctional officer in 2007. I met my now ex-husband, my daughter's father, while I was a CO. When I left the job, I didn't start anything until I left the job, but he came home, we got married, had a baby. His cellmate was my now husband. We started a friendship back in 2009, 2010, and we became best friends. And then I was going through a very abusive marriage, physically, emotionally, spiritually abusive. Essamon basically pulled me through that. We became best friends, brothers and sisters almost. When I left my ex, I wrote him and said, basically, I'm free, right? I broke free. I'm on parole, whatever you want to call it, kind of as a joke, but, you know, as a friendship. And since that point, it's like everything connected with him. Best friends went to just falling in love with him. We connect on levels that I've never, ever connected with anybody on. It didn't matter where he was. Basically, God has just shown off as far as who he is and what he's pulled me through. And when you find that one person, that soulmate, you don't want to wait. A covenant, commitment, it doesn't matter where they are, what they're going through. It doesn't matter what the other person is going through. And I always considered myself married because we had to go through some red tape because I was a CO.
Yes.
So I couldn't visit him right away. The prison was a little concerned.
I don't want to get too nosy, but I'm like, I have two friends that are COs, and I know that it's so strict, you know, not that either one of them have been in a relationship with, you know, an inmate. Is it okay to call them an inmate?
Yes.
Okay,
inmate.
I gotta, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? But
You're okay.
I'm just, you know, I gotta be PC. But they do tell me a lot of stuff, like the rules, and even as a CO, just how you communicate with an inmate is so strict. So I could only imagine that you couldn't even walk through you couldn't even look at him from the window. You know what I mean?
Right. No. They kept saying the safety and security was an issue, but I had to fight. I actually had to go through the Kentucky governor to get access to visit him because they were being so ugly, because I was a former CO who went to the other side of the fence, as they like to say.
Yeah, I want to say, like, I don't believe you went to the other side of the fence. I think you just followed your heart. As me, this is your side of the fence, and love can come in many different ways, you know, clearly, as long as you, I don't even want to say know what you're getting into, but as long as you know that the love is pure and good for you. So.
Right. But once we got that visitation, I went the first time. I was scared to death. I mean, I'd even been in prisons, obviously, and they must have thought I had something on me, carrying something in with the way I was shaking, dropping things. You know, we had to take our shoes off. We have to put everything in the buckets. We can't take any phone in, anything in at all. By the time I got back there to him, it was the first time we'd ever met, and that was in February.
I was going to ask you that, since he was an inmate, had you just been corresponding through letters
and phone calls?
Yeah.
For about 3.5 years. You know, I've met his family and his kids, and I guess I felt closer to him through that. There's a service, though, called JPay, and they do emails and videos. So I can send him like 30-second clips, and he goes out into the day room and he logs onto a computer and he can see email and things like that, which I think is cool. But after that, we visited for almost 2 hours, and he'd already submitted the wedding package even before we laid eyes on each other. But after that first visit, it was kind of like, this is definite.
Yeah, I had the chemistry and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't awkward. It was laid back. It was cool. And we knew right then that it was meant to be. So
good for you. Congratulations. That's the best. That's literally the best. So, all right. So you got married. I'm assuming because you just got married, that part of your life is, I guess what I want to say, as best it can be, being as though obviously he's not out with you.
Right.
You get to go see him as often as you can.
I get to see him 1 to 2 times a month, if I'm lucky.
If you're lucky. But you guys communicate enough so that it's
Right.
because I mean it's kind of like a long distance relationship, even if you live in the same town, right? Because you can't see them that often or touch or feel. So I'm sure it can be a little stressful on that end.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that. That's good. Again, congratulations. I love good love stories. It's amazing. But let's go back to this friend that took your job. Let's talk about this for a second. So what happened?
So I interviewed for the job, got the job right off. Told him that I couldn't work until the next Monday because I was getting married that coming Tuesday. And I'm like, do you want me to go ahead and start or stop and, and I have to be off for a couple of days. And he was cool with me coming in right after I got married, which would have been yesterday, having a couple of days off or whatever. So I was excited. So I told my former boss, who is this friend, hey, I just got on. I didn't feel threatened because she had a job. She had a good job with another facility. And I was like, I'm excited. I got assistant director, and, he didn't need, any like permanent certifications or degrees or whatever. He's cool with, coming in there with nothing so he could train you. And she called him because she knew I couldn't start. And she went in for an interview. And he sent me a message that said, well, I just hired the next applicant that came in. But we would like to offer you a teacher's position. I said, no, thank you.
Well, first and foremost, we're going to fix something real quick. First of all, the person that went in there to get this job is not your friend because a friend wouldn't do that.
No.
That's not a friend. That's somebody that's been plotting against you for whatever reason for a long time. I want to know how you mentally are dealing with that right now.
Basically, I've learned over the course of a lot of years and what's been done to me from, being sexually abused, from being abused by my ex-husband, the best thing I can do is forgive and move on. Because if I harbor resentment and hate and frustration toward that person, it's just going to eat me.
Right. Good for you.
So I've basically just forgiven and trying to just push it past me and do what I need to do to find something else.
Are you still communicating with this person?
No.
Okay. Because it is good to forgive, because you just said something that you and I both have in common from our past. It's good to forgive, but that doesn't mean you need to be in the same space and energy and breathe the same air as that person. You could say, live your best life and move on. So that's a very healthy thing that I'm listening to you talk and I'm looking at you. I love being able to see you guys because a lot of times you're commenting and you do seem, and you can respond to this if you want, but you definitely seem to be level-headed and you really think about decisions that you make and you think about things that happen to you. So that's really good. I think that's amazing. So you got married, which is great. You had a friend, quote, take your job. And then, so now you haven't worked out in a couple of days. Let's talk about, because you seem happy with being married. You seem to be content with being able to move on from this friend taking your job. So why haven't you worked out in the last couple of days?
I guess it's the stress of thinking about finding something else, going through that process again, going through the interview again, trying to prove myself to someone else that I am good at what I do and I would be an asset to your company, yada, yada, yada. I guess it was just kind of a blow, like from the employer as well, to say, we think this person's better than you, even though she came in kind of shady.
Right. So I want you to change your verbiage for me. Whenever you do seek out that next position, don't think about the fact that you have to prove yourself. And maybe you were using those words to explain it, but let me tell you something about having to prove yourself. That puts somebody else on a pedestal, even if they're the boss of this job. You have to walk into this situation being like, yo, this is what I got. Like you will be so blessed to have me as a part of this company. So as you start to go through the process of getting that next position that you go for, you don't have to prove yourself. Like you already know who you are. You know what I mean? You already been through your stuff. So I want you to that's the first thing I want you to do is like mentally say, you know what? This is me. I'm so committed. I'm so good at what I do, you're going to be blessed. Now, that's not to go in there and like act like that. So they could be like, she's cocky or whatever. But internally, you have to have that confidence. The issue comes with, for a lot of people, and it has with me, it still happens to this day, fighting through that stressful moment of having to like find a new job, prove yourself, not knowing what things are going to happen, and then letting the most important thing go to the wayside, which is working out, which is what provides you energy, what provides you confidence, what provides you that good feeling that you continue to do something. Just because something's not working out doesn't mean you have to give up the thing that's actually making you feel good about who you are and the gift to yourself, which is working out every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's very important that you find a way. You've done a lot of things with maneuvering your way through finding love, even going through the governor, or actually finding a way to forgive a friend. But these things, when they happen, the other amazing thing that needs to happen is you continuing to give to yourself. So with that said, you know you best. You know what I mean? I don't know you yet, but if we ever have a chance to sit down for a coffee or a drink or whatever it is that you like to do, you know what I mean? I can get a little more. But so tell me some of the action steps that you feel like you need to take in order to not let this, working out thing get pushed to the wayside.
I guess I need to make it a priority again and not, let my feelings dictate. Because I've just been like, okay, I really need to get up and work out. No, I'll do it later. Then I'm so like mentally exhausted by the end of the day trying to call places. And I call people who work out first thing in the morning superhuman. But I think I might have to become superhuman and hit it as soon as my feet hit the ground type of thing, because I'm letting so many things dictate me not getting up and doing it.
Yeah. It's the same as we do interval training and like insanity and stuff. You have to do interval training in your life. And so what happens is if you start off your day feeling like, oh my gosh, I got to push, I got to go as hard as I can to try and create whatever it is that I want to create by the end of the day. By the end of the day, if you stay in that zone and you don't take those 30-second breaks, what's going to happen is you're going to be extremely exhausted like you are at the end of any workout. So it's not necessarily you have to become superhuman by doing what other people do by working out in the morning. Maybe it's if you feel compelled and motivated to work out in the morning, you need 2 hours later. If you feel motivated and compelled to look for that job in the morning, 2 hours later, your interval training, your break from that is then working out, so that you don't drain yourself mentally so much that by the end of the day, you don't work out. And that's why I always tell people, when you work out when you feel the most energetic, when you feel like you can do it. That's why I prefer to work out in the morning. I'm injured right now a little bit, so I have to do whatever. It's not about me. So I have to like push my workout to later in the day. But you have to start to do interval training with your life. And so having to look for a new job and a new position and find something that you really love while you're motivated to do it can also be very draining. So make sure that workout comes at that first interval that you take, that first break that you take from that. Just do it. And I'm going to challenge you really fast that what you doing after this phone call?
Nothing.
What you doing after this phone call?
I guess I'm gonna work out.
And let me tell you what you're gonna do after this phone call. You're gonna work out, and then you're gonna and then you're gonna take a sweaty selfie, and you're gonna send it to and I'm posting it in the safe space, and I'm be like, let me tell you something. This is Angela's first workout after a couple days. She was feeling down. Find out more with our one-on-one. We're gonna cut this. But anyway,
okay.
I ain't playing with you, Angela. I don't know what you think this is. So anyway, all right, we got about 6 minutes, and
okay.
Just because I have a really crazy day, but I want to leave this last 6 minutes for you to do rapid fire questions on whatever it is you ever wanted to ask Shaun T. It could be as personal as you want, because this is going in a safe space, or it could be, what do I eat? You know what I mean?
I quit journalism because I was failing at the interview sessions.
Well, you know what? This is your time to like redeem yourself.
I flunked.
Look, I'm somebody that you can ask anything. I ain't gonna shun away any question. Ask me whatever you want.
I don't know. What's the hardest part about being a dad to twins? Because I'm getting ready to have either two nieces, two nephews, a niece and a nephew. My niece is getting ready to have twins. So to help her, what is the hardest part?
The hardest part for me is it's not necessarily sleep. Like a lot of people say sleep, it's mentally draining because I'm the kind of parent, or Scott and I are the kind of parents that we literally, if Scott and I are talking and the boys are there and we involve them in the conversation, even if they can't talk back. And so we'd be like, yeah. I'm like, what you think, Sandra? What you think, Silas? Like, don't you think? You know, we literally bring them into the conversation, which is really amazing. But then we had to start making ourselves be like, okay, they can spend 10 minutes playing with their toys or looking at something and having independent time. So the hardest thing for me was being mentally draining because we were giving a lot of energy to them. And is she married? Is she single? Is she, cause what's her situation?
She's with the baby daddy, but we don't know how long that's going to last.
Right. So here you go. So the thing is like, she can't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, she has you, so that's really amazing. So she can't be afraid to ask for help from family members because with twins, like had to have help. And then she has to be attentive enough with the kids, but also make sure that they know like this is their time and have them have time to play with their toys. And look, this is after the first 3 months. The first 3 months are going to be hell. It's going to be hell on earth. She just needs help. It's just help. Tell her and you, because you might be there with her one day, it's okay to cry. It's okay to leave the babies with a family member and to go out and go to the movies. If she's not breastfeeding, if she is breastfeeding pump, she needs to just take that time to herself because you love the babies so much that you want to give so much energy and time. So let's just make sure that she has a support system. She gives enough energy, but also teaches them that it's okay to be independent probably around 4 months. And then being able to really just to obviously just use people for help. So.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think she's terrified.
Anyway, she's terrified. She should be because it's crazy as hell. It's crazy. I'm like, oh my God, when we had the kids, I'm like, Scott's 46, I'm 39. You know, we've traveled around the world. We have good jobs, professions, and I was still scared as shit. I was like, this is crazy, but it's amazing. It is really amazing. Enjoy the process as much as you can, but just tell her, don't be afraid to step aside and have somebody watching babies while she goes to sleep for 2 hours or goes to get her nails done or get a massage or her and the baby daddy do whatever they need to do.
Right.
Or whatever it is. And tell her she can call me too if she got problems with him. Actually make him call me so I can put him in his place.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, I will. Well, thank you for your time today. I wish we had more time. I think Chip told you my day is so crazy. But again, congratulations on getting married. Like, just, keep that strong. The one thing I tell people that just got married, I mean, obviously you've been in relationships before, is hold on to that feeling where you were shaking when you were going to meet him for the first time. Hold on to that feeling because no matter what happens, if you remember the foundation of where you guys came from, you can always get through anything. As long as it's not something where you need to call Shaun T to whoop on somebody. Very nice to you. So thank you. And thank you for joining the Ongoing Key and being in a safe space. It's people like you that keep it real and are open and honest about what's happening in their life that gives people hope to be able to share stuff internally, not even externally, but just to be able to be transparent. And I know that people just hearing about what your experience is, even in the current time and a little bit of your past, they're going to be really inspired to just keep on keeping on.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, for real.
Thank you, you too. Well, have an amazing day. It's so nice to meet you, and thanks for wearing that Insanity shirt because I need to dig deep today myself.
right. Have
And
a
I'm
good one.
looking for Chip to get that selfie because we're posting it on Goy Key. Let's go. Let's go, Angela.
Right. Okay.
Have
Going.
a good day. Bye.
Bye.